Every once in a while, I'm wrong about a phone. Last year, it was the Motorola Razr 5G, and I just didn't have a good positive opinion about it. I didn't like that it was only a Snapdragon 765. I didn't like the price. I didn't like the size of the screen. There were just a couple of things that really put me off about the phone, but then I decided to try one, and it changed my perspective completely on it. Now, I don't want to say that about this phone, being the S21 FE, but I have a more positive thought process, I guess, about this phone now. Now, I didn't like what they did with it. They waited way too long to release the phone. I thought they wanted $100 too much for it at $699 instead of $599. It was more priced over the Pixel 6, which I thought the Pixel 6 was kind of a better phone, but you get the full complement with the 3 cameras on the back here, and you get some other high quality stuff too, like the 120 hertz refresh rate, 6.4 inch screen. Lots of nice stuff going on here, but they released it just a couple weeks before the S22, and it just made absolutely no sense, and it made it kind of a non-starter from the get-go, especially when there wasn't that much of a difference from the S21 from the previous year. But I think that this could be just about the best value in Android phones, especially for the flagship experience for most people. Why do I say that? Because you can get it for less than $400 on Amazon. You get Amazon renewed for like $387 or somewhere around there. I saw it and I thought, wow, that's really impressive. Let me talk to people about it, especially because you can get it brand new for $599 on Amazon. Don't buy this on Samsung. The trade-in stuff is terrible for it. They give you some high illustrations for trade-in credit, and the best trade-in credit you can get is for like a Fold 3. Nobody's going to trade in a Fold 3 for an S21 FE. I'm sorry. So just getting that out of the way. However, great thing here. You get 4 years of operating system updates, 5-year security patches. Starts off 128 gigabytes of storage, 6 gigs of RAM, which I think is okay. Yes, I would prefer 8 across the board. If you bump it up, you can get 8 gigs of RAM. The cameras are just good enough. The screen, I think, is pretty nice. Samsung makes darn well the best phone screens out there in the market. I mean, heck, they sell them to most of the phone population. They even sell them to Apple. 6.4 inch, 120 hertz refresh rate, 1080p, which I think is fine. They got to try and dumb it down a little bit because, well, they want you to buy the more expensive stuff like the Quad HD Plus, S22 Ultra. But what makes this such a good deal, when you look at the S22 and its rinky-dink 3700 milliamp battery, it's abysmal. And I actually really like the phone. It's got the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1, but the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1 has some problems of its own, especially it's not exactly great on battery life like they kind of said that it was going to be. The 8 Plus Generation 1, different story. The Snapdragon 8 Generation 1 has a proclivity for burning through battery. Not a good thing. So the Snapdragon 888, it did take them a little while to kind of get things dialed in, but I think a lot of that was mostly software optimization. So when you look at this phone, you get last year's flagship chip, Snapdragon 888, which I think was a pretty good processor. It had its issues in the beginning when the S21 and the OnePlus 9 Pro came out, but they mostly got that stuff ironed out. I think the chip is in a much better position now than it was back then, especially with the optimization and things like that. So then you get the triple camera setup on the back, primary, telephoto, ultra wide. You're good to go. Yes, it takes good pictures. I think that the Pixel 6 takes better primary shots, but then you get the complete rounded approach here with the telephoto you're missing out on the Pixel 6. That you got to get the Pixel 6 Pro, but then you're looking at $899. So when we look at those phones when they came out, Pixel 6 $599, great price. This was $699, but they had deals where you could get it like $100 off with activation, trade-in deals, great carrier incentives. So it made it competitive. But then, of course, they're always dropping the price. If you go to Best Buy and activate it on your network, you can get it for $499, which is a pretty good deal. If you're interested, I've got links for Amazon and Best Buy in the description. Don't even worry about it. Just keep watching the video, and I'll keep telling you about the phone. Performance-wise, top-notch. You can play AAA games. You can play games basically maxed out to your heart's content on here. You get a 4,500 milliamp battery. You get a nice thin form factor. You get relatively inexpensive accessories. IP68 dust and water resistance, a whole 9 yards. You also got wireless charging, you get reverse wireless charging, USB-C, stereo speakers, and you get a beautiful screen. I really like the way the screen looks. Of course, it's an AMOLED 1080p. You're not getting as good of a brightness level, especially outside, as you do with like the S22, the S22 Ultra, the Fold 4, ones like that. But still a very good brightness level, still a great panel, and I think it's a great phone. It's got great software support, like I talked about earlier, 4 years of operating system, 5 years of security patches. That's the best in the business when it comes to Samsung. And this is not something, I'm not trying to sell you a phone, I'm not trying to be a salesman here. But when I saw this for less than $400, and I thought, okay, I said not to buy this phone when it first came out at full price because I thought it was much better at $599 or $499. I said, wait a little bit, you can get it for cheaper. This is going to be a phone that's going to get cheaper. But also, I thought the Pixel 6 was a better deal, especially for somebody who values the primary shooter and the amazing picture taking capabilities. This is not as good. You get the 12 megapixel camera. It's not as good as the Pixel 6 camera, but I think it takes really good photos. And that's something to be said when it comes to a phone, because you don't have to have the bleeding edge of camera technology. But if you're getting a really good camera, you're getting all three cameras, the primary, the ultra wide, and the telephoto, all in one. You get a 32 megapixel selfie camera on the front, which is not as good as the 10 megapixel they've used previously in other phones. They try to upsell you on the megapixels, but it's still very capable, very handy. And it's nice, it's sleek, has a great screen to body ratio. You don't see the bezels all the way around it. It's lightweight. You don't have the curved edge, which some people don't like. Some people don't like the curved edge. They hate it. And that's fine. You don't have to like it. I mean, I like the curved edge. I think it's more premium. It's better for ergonomics and holding it on larger phones. 6.4 inches, I think, is a sweet spot when it comes to a screen. And yeah, I think that this is a pretty complete package. I didn't like it at $699. I didn't like the way they launched it just before the S22. I didn't like how it was very similar to the S21. They didn't make a lot of changes, but they didn't need to. And now looking at it, of course, you get the better battery life as well. 4,500 milliamps. It's nice, it's thin, it's compact. I think that if you're in the market, and I get asked this question a lot of times, like, what's a good alternative to the Pixel 6? This is the perfect alternative. If you want probably the best pound for pound Android phone that you can get right now that gives you great performance, great power, great above average stuff in pretty much every category, renewed at under $400, fantastic. At $599, it's okay. $499 with activation, I think, is a good deal. Like, if you get this for $499, you're going to be able to use this phone 3-4 years. It's going to be a great service phone for you that's going to last a long time. 5G, all the connectivity stuff that you want, and you don't really bat an eyelash at it because it's not like $1,000. And here's where the other value argument comes in, because I hate the S22 Plus at $999. 1080p, not the best camera you can get from a Samsung phone. They don't have the best panel in there. They dumb down a lot of stuff compared to the S22 Ultra because they want to upsell you on it. Well, they also want to charge you $999, and that phone is not worth $999. This phone is worth every bit of $599, $499, or 380 something bucks as a renewed phone. And the great thing with Amazon Renewed, you get 90 days. If there's anything wrong with it, you can return it, no questions asked, within 90 days. That's a pretty good deal. So Samsung, had they released this a couple months earlier, especially if they beat out the Pixel 6, it'd have been a great end-of-year release as opposed to just before the S22. But so many good things going on here. Yes, kind of frustrating the way they did it, the way they launched it, the way they paired it up just before the S22 came out, basically killed most of the interest in the phone. And they're even talking about getting rid of the fan edition phones completely nowadays, which is a whole nother story. But if you're interested in a great, actually I would say fantastic for the price, power for performance, power to ratio phone, price to ratio phone, this is just about it. Like, this is, I think, just about the best Android phone pretty much anyone can buy around the $400 price point. And it hasn't had issues. This isn't like the Pixel 6 with all the problems it had with the software, the fingerprint sensor, and all those things, the connectivity, the Bluetooth. This one, been very quiet, under the radar. It's just a good everyday workhorse phone that has a lot of premium features that you can get for pretty decent prices a lot of different places, especially with the Renew program. So that's all I've got. Just wanted to talk about this phone. Hadn't talked about it in a while. We're getting into the fall season. We've seen a lot of the stuff that's come out. The new foldable, the new flip stuff, the new iPhone, the new Pixel 7 is going to be out here in just like another week. So I thought it was a good time to revisit this and talk about it, especially going into the holiday season, because one thing that you can always count on is good prices around the holiday season, Black Friday, Thanksgiving time period. You'll probably see some really, really good deals on this in just another month or two. So that's all I've got. I'm done talking. I'm still losing my voice. I've been going hoarse here lately. I don't know why, but that's all I got. If you have any questions or comments, please go down to the comment section. I will get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please Please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.